Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. Victor Liberatore joining us here again today, our interior designer from Stevensville, Maryland, and of course, specializing in design, which includes residential, commercial, corporate, hospitality, health, but always with a focus on contemporary design. And he's here to talk more about his eclectic concepts, and he's going to show us some of his amazing spaces. So, welcome back to the show. How are you, Victor?
Good, Jill. How are you today?
Fantastic. I hope you had a good weekend.
Great weekend.
Great. Well, excited to have you back. For those new time listeners saying, hey, who's this guy, Victor? Please fill us in a little bit about the work you do. I know it's a lot, but we'll concise it down to just a few minutes.
We've been in the industry for over 35 years, and I focus on contemporary, traditional, and transitional type projects that are unique to the client. Because if you look at our website, Victor Liberatore Interior Design, you'll see that every project is totally unique to the client and not my taste. Anytime it's my taste, if I'm doing a show house, I get the free expression of things, and some of these projects are pretty interesting. Um, my contact number is 410-486-6942 or victorliberatorinteriordesign.com.
Beautiful. And also want to talk about the work you're doing. And I know today you have a lot to share with us, as always. So, would you like to get started? What did you have in mind for the first concept that we're going to be talking about and seeing today?
I'm going to, one second here.
But in the meantime, Victor Liberatore, check him out. Just Google his name. Check out the website. You can see his amazing spaces. And what we've been doing the past few weeks is he's sharing his work. So you get to actually see the whole
There we go.
process from start to finish. And I think we're ready.
Okay, here we go.
Yay! Here we are.
Way I usually start a project is meeting with the client and we review what their accomplishments would like to be. We sit down. It takes about 2 or 3 weeks for us to get a initial design together because when I get people saying I need something in 2 weeks, I'm not your designer because we're in depth is what we do. So there's a whole process that I go through to get to the end result, and people soon understand that I'm doing what I'm doing is way beyond most people do. Not that there aren't other designers that are fantastic. There are. Um, there's a whole process that I go through. This is a table of contents, and what it shows is in the other pages that were coming up.
There's a table of contents, all your sketches,
And
and
then
oh,
what we do is photograph. I'm going fast and slow. These are preliminary pictures that we take of the existing spaces. And what you'll see through this process, this is a very organized house. Because the client had a home in Florida. They were living in Florida for over the winter time. Snowbirds from Baltimore, obviously. And this is the preliminary images. And what this is important because we changed some of these things in here. This existing fireplace was a wood burning fireplace. We changed it to an electric fireplace. We've taken out all these components here and centered them towards the room. We've also, all this whole bedroom has been totally redone. It's more of a transitional type of space, not very contemporary. It's a mix. And this part of the project is the kitchen where we hadn't intended to do anything here. As we got into the project, all this cabinets became white. All this backsplash and countertops were all changed as well.
beautiful.
So
Now,
what we do, this is a information for not only the contractor but for the clients and stuff. We do it pretty much graphically so they can understand things. If we were just doing everything in black and white, they wouldn't probably understand anything we're doing. This is all the floor plan, and all this orange you're seeing is where we incorporated new crown molding and some details. This
nice.
area was Originally this area was just a doorway here. We opened up this entire wall so you can see into the kitchen. This was the husband's idea. It allowed us to get some additional cabinetry here, which is sided on both sides. And I'm going to just blow this a little bit. We did a reflected ceiling plan, which is a lighting plan. And this is
Okay.
just showing for the kitchen. All this is very interesting. I use very up-to-date products. These are all LED, and I use trims that are square housing instead of round housing. This is the crown we added to the space wrapping around all the bulkheads. We had actually added some bulkheads into the space so everything was continuous. This is a half round space that fits at the bottom of this bulkhead. The client is a Ravens fan. I lost my interest in football when Irsay took the Colts out of Baltimore in '77. So I'm not a big sports fan, but I'm a designer. I love design. This is
Yeah,
a fireplace
clearly.
which has two components to it,
Wow.
either regular heat or high heat. So that's interesting as well.
Okay, what is the difference? I'm sorry. You said,
This has the fireplace. Get to that page.
wow.
This fireplace. This is all the details I had to put into the project in order to get this constructed without me being on a job site every minute. But this has two series of heat level. The normal level, then there's a level that does twice the amount of heat. And this client is in his just turned 80. I have like three clients in their 80s. And my clients started about 30 years old to 80 some years old. So big spread. But this is all information that is relative to the contractor. So when they're doing the work, it's done the way it needs to be done. And I'm always available. If I'm going too slow or too fast, just let me
No,
know.
it's beautiful. I've never seen that where the fireplace is lower on the bottom of the TV. I like that. It doesn't affect the TV at all?
No,
The
it does
heat.
not. No, the heat. I have a house is over 100 years old, and the heat coming out of it will not affect anything above it. Really,
Awesome.
I think that's a misnomer for a lot of
Yeah.
things. This is we built out this entire wall here, and these are what's called a torsion shelf, which is a shelf that's looks like nothing's holding to the wall, but behind that wall we have blocking, which is 2x6s that these torsion shelves can attach to the wall. Most people, it's just like people driving a Lamborghini. They don't even know what's underneath the hood. They're just driving that wonderful car. But the same thing about construction and design. It's important that you know what's behind the walls.
Yeah.
And this is a product called Tree Frog. It's one of the most expensive laminates. It's actually veneer. It's about $360 for a 4x8, so it's quite expensive. But it does a remarkable job when the project is completed. This is more details that under the hood stuff for most people. These are all the elevations, and this is a graphic representation of what we're doing as far as the molding goes in there. At the crown at the top, we built out two of these bulkheads and this bulkhead to unify with everything else that was going on. And these are just elevations of the space, so the contractor has a better idea of what's going on, and the client as well. This is a door that was this was a 80-inch door height. We brought it all the way up to 96 inches high. Well, I'll see I have a photograph of the end.
Okay. Okay.
Now, these are just real renderings that are done. We did for the project itself. And this is a bar pole that's 48 inches tall, as opposed to a doorknob. This is an indication of some of the lighting that I use, which is recessed and has a square trim. These are actually adjustable, so we can adjust the light in the room a little bit better. I've actually done a new house construction a couple years back. There's a trim, a recessed lighting. You don't even have to have a trim. It's used drywall compound to create the edge, so there's no trim at all that's visible. Again, more information for the contractor for information as far as what needs to go where, type of switches, type of outlets, things of that nature. Most people, when
Yeah.
they're hiring a designer, they don't understand
Yeah.
all this that goes into the project. And it's only because my background in design, it's more towards creating things that are totally different than anyone else would have. And this is a nice little ceiling hugger fan that looks great in the kitchen. I should have some photographs of this. We're just about finishing this project up in about the next month, and it's kind of interesting. We did a custom headboard for two rooms. This is a design for the bed.
Hmm. Wow.
This is the layout, all this indication of where the carpet's going, and then this is where all the LVT electrical vinyl tile goes in this space here. Originally, when I came in, this was a hardwood floor, and the client's being in Florida for 3, 4 months of the year. Something happened with the air conditioning and it froze and it raised the level of this whole floor here up was like a mountain, and it's same thing over here in the
Uh,
hallway here. So
well, can I
it's
ask you your take on vinyl compared to wood floor? I mean, what works
luxury
for?
vinyl is pretty much indestructible. It's scratch resistant. It has some very good finishes. I'm doing another project right now for a client we've done work over 15 years, and it's very durable. I mean, dogs can't scratch it. If you buy a lesser value tile, that's going to happen. But if you buy the cream of the crop luxury vinyl tile, that shouldn't happen at all.
All right, good to know. And cost comparison to a hardwood floor, is vinyl, luxury vinyl a lot more? Is it similar? Just
It's
curious.
probably gonna be in the same price range.
Okay.
Obviously, there's hardwood floors that are average and there are hardwood floors that are superior. It depends. You get what you pay for, as the adage says. It's
Yep.
nothing changes in that arena.
Got it. Okay.
Oops. We went through a bunch of selections for the sconces beside the bed. These are not any of those, but I show clients like 3 to 5 different examples of what is possible within their level that they're trying to accomplish, and they sort soon realize that I know what I'm talking about, and they go with what I suggest. Obviously, they're getting what they're paying for, and they're paying for me to do the job. These are We actually showed 4 different huggers. They went with this one here because it was not as extreme as this, which is very contemporary, and this white fit in with the kitchen. This is the style of the countertops. I mean, the countertop we did was Taj Mahal quartzite, and quartzite is a natural material, not like quartz. Quartz is man-made, and they're having some issues with manufacturing of quartz because the fumes and the dust that are offsetting are harmful to the people that are working with those elements.
Wow.
So quartzite is natural.
Okay.
Here are some renderings that we did that we show clients. This is a low-grade rendering of a vector rendering that showed what's in the space itself, but not 100% in detail. When I'm designing this, I had to place colors on these chairs, and sometimes I had to modify the product to get what we want to make it look like it's realistic. We went from, oops, more background things. We went from this wall covering, which is about, it's from Valhalla up there in Minnesota, and that's about $2,600 worth of wall covering just for this wall. It's all handmade,
Mm-hmm.
and they have gorgeous work. We went from white to this color here, which was beautiful. Like Harry trigger here. These are some of the pieces we reupholstered for the client. That we didn't reupholster this one, but we made these chairs into a luxury chairs. Everything was redone for all the filling and foam, dense foam, things of that nature. I have one of my kitties trying to get in here, but she'll make a lot of noise. This is just a recap of the fireplace itself. And this is the headboard that we designed for the client. And these are some of the details we had to go through to measure the mattress. This is one of the mattresses that are motorized, and they raise up and down based on the client's preference. And the clients refer told me the other day she was sleeping in the guest bedroom for 20 years. She says the first time we've been sleeping together for 20 years.
Oh
I
my
guess
gosh.
I'm a matchmaker in heaven here.
You are making
So
things happen in the
I'm not,
bedroom,
I can't
in
go
the
that far. I
kitchen.
don't know what I'm making happen, but they're at least they're in the same bedroom. That's great. And this is another headboard we did, which is a channel tufted headboard. It's in the guest room. Obviously, we have an electrical outlet here, so we had to make room for that space itself.
Yeah.
And here are the fabrics that we use. This one is from Maxwell. They're out of Canada, but they have warehouses in North Carolina. This is the other fabric we use. I know I'm going fast, but I'm
It's
trying to stay.
fine. I know we talk about, but time is an issue with
I
our
understand.
14, 13 minutes left. So we got this. This is
So
beautiful.
these are some of the things that the designer goes through, at least at the level I'm from, that does what they do to get the project the way the client wants. And the client keeps saying, your work is amazing. Your work is amazing. I said, I know that, but I'm trying to give you the best you can afford. And this project is about $200,000, including construction. So that's not the average project. I mean, I've worked on projects for 10 years for 30,000 square feet, $54 million build. That is not
Yeah.
this house, but everyone is relative. And my clients, on different places where I advertise, they say he works with large clients and he works with small clients. And he gives everybody the same attention. And that's what we do. It's all about giving attention. These things you're seeing in the background, these are things that aren't in the drawings. I have to change things as we go.
Beautiful.
I
Wow.
mean, this is details on the kitchen. This is the backsplash tile. I have one guy I use over top of my contractor because he does the best job, and I've been working with him for 20 years. This is the original table base we were using for the dining table. It was discontinued. It was from Artiers, which is a great line. It was probably about $4,000 or $5,000 table, and there's no glass top on that. So we went to Oh, this is, let me get back forward here.
Sure. I love all these pieces. Oh
I want
my,
to come back to that.
sure.
Oops. These were the variables we had for selecting a dining table because everything was not right or not or too expensive or not available. We end up doing with this one. It took me 3 months to get this thing, and it's a beautiful piece. It's going
Wow.
to be installed next week. So I'm just going to jump back. Some of these things I designed so we could just get something that they like. This a When I do a design, I do a series of different types of furniture selections for the client. This is actually an electric motorized chair, and the client said we don't want anything with a swivel. So this is on four legs that they can't fall over or trip because when you get up in age, and it happens to all of us who are lucky enough to do that, people start to fall, and because of the lack of oxygen and things of that nature. They wanted something that was stable, and these are all motorized. There's a underneath this table. In reality, there's an outlet we put in the floor that all plug in, so there's no trip hazards.
Amazing. I could use that even though I'm a little younger.
Well, today you have to watch out because we're all focused on things. People are walking around with cell phones, they're not watching what they're doing, and accidents do happen. This is area rug. This is like an 8 by 10. This is our wall covering. This is where the clients had 10 of these dishes. We arranged those on a wall behind an armoire. This is a look of the fireplace we have. This is a sofa. And this fabric here is from Zimmer Road, and it's $247 a yard
Oh,
retail.
wait, that's fabric for the wall or that's for the
And
carpet?
this
I
is
can't.
for
Wow.
2 pillows. It was like
Uh,
100 some dollars for pillows for this sofa here. It doesn't always happen. I don't usually look at prices when I'm at the grocery store, and I don't look at them when I'm shopping for clients. I had to come back and adjust those things. This is some of the things that we utilize in the bedroom. Obviously, the new bed we designed. This was her mother's, which was in storage, and we had that brought to the house. These are all reupholstered. I feel like I'm moving too fast, but these are some of the other selections we gave them for sconces, and this is the one we came up with. She says it feels like a high-end hotel, and it really does. Hopefully, in the next month, I'll have these images, and we'll still be doing the program here. These are more sconce selections that I made. As you can see, we give people a lot of opportunities or selection possibilities because I may not see what they're seeing, so I give them way beyond that. These are all some of the other things here. This is a pendant over top the dining table, which is all LED lighting. This is a cool thing. So that's my pony show for this particular project. And I want to show a couple of things. I want to show a couple, so we have a few minutes here. I want to show some other aspects of the design itself. This is a show house I did back in 2006. And can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay, what's important about this house? I bought the house down the street from it. That
Oh,
was
okay.
costly show house that I did. But this is actually the woman that owned this house. She actually created the multiple listing for real estate in the entire country. She's no longer with us, but she was a wonderful woman. What you're seeing here is this. I built this whole deck by myself, and this is exterior flooring, which I stained gray. This
That
is
wood or no? Because that's near the water. What is
this
that?
is wood. This is regular decking before the other stuff came out, where it was real big. This is actually Bahamian white sand I poured in the around the entire perimeter, and all these draperies we pretty much made in house. What you'll notice is this is a very relaxing space, and what I did is put some torture elements in from a sculptor, which have pointy edges. I'll show you a bigger of all of that. And here's a shell of a bomb, which I'm holding a plant. So this is very contradictory in what it says and what I have in here because I make something that's not supposed to be nice feel nice. And we'll switch over. This is my young lady, Gail, is my
Aw,
beloved wife, and she
beautiful.
actually is an artist. She painted this Venus, which is one of my favorite artists. Botticelli's Venus, and we actually had to scale up the frame to fit this whole wall. But
Wow.
that's beautiful, and this wine right here is beautiful too. It's attractive.
Yes. Of course,
But you can
waiting to
see
happen.
we when you do a show house, there are things or elements in your way that you have to cover up. And there was actually a big window here, so we just covered it with a drapery treatment. And on the inside, so that the person would not have anything to deal with, we put a mirrored mylar one, so they only got was a reflection of their inside space. So we're thoughtful about the other designer, what they did.
Beautiful.
And here are those detail of those walls. Again, even these plants they look dangerous, but they're very soft. One of my favorite fiddle leaf here. These are actually elements we found at a craft show in downtown in Baltimore years ago. But these are all pointy edges, things of that nature. They're so fun. But I make them feel like they belong in that space because of what it is.
Yeah. And you give them a new home. I love that. Right? Doesn't all have to be new. You could find
And,
stuff.
well, these are all brand new. They weren't old pieces. They were actually made out of
Oh, they look like they're antiques. Like you got, okay, wow.
they have a rustic feel to them, but I think they're made out of plaster or something
Okay.
of that nature. So I just have one more little thing that I'm gonna show if I can find my way home here. Okay, here we go. This I was doing project. This is like Palestine and Arabia at the same time. I was doing two different projects. One was Arab and the other ones were Jewish. And there was like 5 miles apart between them. Neither one of them knew what I was doing. And this was a room designed about the time, just post 19, when people were still working from home. So there were two young adults that, like the mid 20s or something like that, mid 20s, something like that. Two sisters that shared a home office. And this is off the cabinet shelving from a manufacturer. Some people might know, but what we did, and this is the same thing. This is like almost a 9 footer. We're what am I doing here? Going too fast.
It's
This
okay.
tape is here. What I'm showing is color blocking. See this background wall here, and we're about to do some color blocking with some additional things. Almost, I was looking at this morning, so it reminded me of piano keys. But this is another shelf here again. The color blocking on the background. This was eventually filled with shelves and artifacts from the client parents. And what we're doing is we have some rectangular mirrors that are not a mirror that you can look into. They're tapered on the
Oh,
end,
I
so that
see that. That's like it's like a funhouse mirror almost, Nana. It's wow, that's so cool.
I'm getting pretty good at this here.
Yeah.
And each one of
Look
them
at
had their own
you.
desk. And then there's a typical thing. These are bookcases that were mounted to the wall, and a desk set aside it. These are acrylic legs for each of those desks. Both of them had the same desks, just on opposite sides of the space itself. And here's where the magic starts to happen. You started adding color blocking here, and that's dramatic compared to what it was with just a bookshelf with this backdrop and these almost called piano keys, I guess, gave that space some life.
Wow,
Are you seeing that?
beautiful. That's so cool. My question is with carpet, right?
Yes,
I mean, it's so beautiful. How do you keep it clean? That's my panic and worry about carpet.
that's the maid's job.
Uh-huh. But they make carpet, I'm sure today that's less sustainable, more yeah, oh my gosh, that
What
carpet.
is actually I had see this backdrop back here?
Yeah.
I didn't realize, but there's a glass of wine there. This is a
Where?
virtual background. Let me see if I can get that. Oh, Lord. But
Oh, you just muted yourself. Hold
I'm
on.
sorry. But what it is a glass of wine,
Oh gosh. I didn't see.
and this has to be a product called Krypton, which is not from Superman, which is kryptonite. I actually have products, fabrics with Krypton on it, and I take it in the kitchen and pour water on it. It just beads and rolls right up. And clients are amazed when you do that because, of course, I tested it first, make sure it worked. But it's important to
Hmm.
have things work when you're, especially dealing with children, and we have even with elder people that have grandchildren. When kids come over, they can spill things, and you need to make sure things don't
Disaster.
happen like that.
Yep.
So, but this is just a short thing to show how simple elements can take them and
Hmm.
modify them. And this is like,
Look at that. Beautiful.
I mean, even the composition. I work things, the composition is perfect. And people are amazed when I come into a space. I'm not patting myself on the back. It's just talent that I've had
You,
and harnessed over the last 30 some 40 years.
but
Is
you,
that I know what needs to be done. I know how it's done. And I'm not the type of designer that walks into a space and said, you need to do this, this, and this. I have to live with it a little bit. So I'm like a designer that lives the process. Until I get to that process, I won't show a client anything. And I
well,
know there's some architects who will get a project and won't do anything for an entire year, and then they'll present the project after 1 year. And obviously, you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars up front, and you're just anticipating everything's going to be perfect. And with this architect, everything is perfect. And that's how I modeled myself after as well.
beautiful. Well, at this time, let's remind them how we contact you, Victor. Thank you.
At Victor Liberatore Interior Design, I can be found on the web. We've been out there almost as long as the web has been out there. At 410-486-6942 or victorliberatorinteriordesign.com.
Beautiful. Would you mind stop sharing the screen 1 second?
Sure, sure.
Perfect. There we go. Victor Liberatore, thank you so much for being here, for showing us that, and looking forward to next week's show.
Me too.
Always. Thank you again. You got this down pat now. You have a great day, and
Thanks,
we'll talk
Sheila.
next week. Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you
Bye
very much.
bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.